Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde were pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children. Bonnie and...
Greetings from Alto Rock, the most beautiful house in Gibraltar, which is owned by a dear friend of mine who is godfather to one of my sons. And this is his adorable rescue dog, Billy. Hello, Billy. Say hello to everybody. So, without further ado, I am going to plunge right in because I have a little bit of juice for you as I have been on my bongo drums. But I'm going to do it in the form, as usual, of questions and answers. So here goes. Merut Pat says, Lady C, what do you think about Camilla Parker Bowles becoming the Queen of England? Our lovely Queen Elizabeth said she could become Queen Consort, not Queen. Even Princess Anne confirmed that. Sorry. Mayor put, sorry. And we're opening with this and then we're plunging into the real stuff. But I had to clear this up. The Queen stated that she wished Camilla to be Queen Consort as opposed to Princess Consort, which is what she was originally mooted as being. All Queens Consort are known by their Christian names. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, when she was the Queen Consort, was Queen Elizabeth. Queen Mary, when she was the Queen Consort, was Queen Mary. Queen Alexandra, when she was Queen Consort, was Queen Alexandra. You then have to go back to William IV's wife, Queen Adelaide, who was Queen Consort. Before that, Caroline of Brunswick, Queen Caroline. Before that, Queen Charlotte, George III's Queen Consort. There is no title Queen Consort. There is a title Prince Consort, given to Prince Albert by Queen Victoria, because there is no such thing in this country as a king consort. The last king consort was Philip II of Spain, who was married to Mary Tudor, Queen Mary I. I don't know where people think that because the late Queen said that Camilla should be Queen Consort, that people think that Queen Elizabeth II meant that she should be known always by the title of Queen Consort. There is no title of Queen Consort. It is a position. The title that the Queen Consort, whoever she has, is her Christian name. I hope that clears that up, because this is something that arises from time to time, and there should be no misunderstanding. The king did not do a sleight of hand and dishonor his mother's wishes. He honored his mother's wishes, which incidentally were his wishes that she was honoring. So I hope that clears that up. And now we plunge into the nitty-gritty. And Billy is right by my foot. Aren't you, sweet boy? So adorable. Some of these rescue dogs are just such heaven. If anybody has a space in their home and heart and wants a rescue dog, please rescue a dog. Audrey Naylor says, I have read in the Sun newspaper that Meghan and Harry are going to make a Hollywood film. This is just sick. they should leave Diana in peace. Well, my dear, first of all, God forbid that they would do something that didn't somehow trade on his late mother's corpse, to be blunt about it all. And the constant obsession, and really sick, in my opinion, obsession with always linking everything to Diana as if somehow she is going to sanctify the whole thing as they exploit her name and, incidentally, as many of you have pointed out, help to perpetually damage her reputation. It is sick, but of course they think it's clever merching, because you see, Meghan is a professional mercher. She's a hawker of wares. She is a cheap and vulgar hustler, and she doesn't understand the reason why they fail is because she needs to up her act and acquire a little bit of the class that she claims that she has. And there's nothing really more distasteful than trading on the corpse of a dead and beloved, supposedly beloved mother, and dishonoring at every turn her legacy as you continue to trade on it and draw attention to any failings she had. And I agree they should leave Diana in peace. It is distasteful. It is distasteful. Well, yes, the book is a romantic novel. Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. It is a paperback. It's not a hardback. That in itself should tell you something. It's a paperback. It's sold pretty well, and good luck to Carly Fortune. I hope that every writer does as well as she has done with her 2 books, because this is not her first book. She also had another book that sold well called Every Summer After. Now, the newspapers are saying that they paid up to £3 million for the rights. I mean, let me tell you something. As somebody who has had several books on bestseller lists, it's a lie. It's a total lie. If she's got £30,000 for the rights to that book, she's got plenty. I know the way things work nowadays. If the book were going to sell for $3 million, it would have sold to Steven Spielberg or someone like that. It would have been a mega bestseller in hardback as well as in paperback. Not just a paperback book that has done well and is a romantic novel. I mean, you know, they really think everybody's stupid, and they really think that they can come out with these silly assertions and that everybody is going to believe the rubbish. Well, why would everybody believe the rubbish? I mean, there are people out there who are knowledgeable about how the world works, and you're actually listening to one of them. But I mean, don't take my word for it. If you know somebody in the publishing world, ask them. They will tell you. The book is what is known as a modest C-list bestseller. It's not right up there with Jackie Suzanne books. It's Carly Fortune is not that caliber. So there are links, of course, because it's a love story, as are Harry and Meghan's. Romeo and Juliet, Abelard and Eloise, Mutt and Jeff. Oh, sorry. I do keep on slipping back to that. Who did I mean? Bonnie and Clyde. And we mustn't forget Meghan and Harry. So in love that she can't even look at him when they're supposed to be happy together. Well, Megsy baby, you better start to clutch that hand again, because really, we're not convinced and you need to convince us. However, it is a stab, and do we really think that this book is going to do so well when converted into whether it is a mini-series or just a telly show or a Netflix show or whatever it's going to be, that it's going to be a blockbuster. I used to know the producer of the television series of Barbara Taylor Bradford's books. I also used to know Barbara, but this is beside the point. The point being that the television people made money. The authors made some money. But if you believe for 1 second that that book sold for £3 million, you believe that pigs fly and that donkeys are thoroughbred racehorses. Oh, and that Meghan is a lady of quality and Harry is a genius. Of course, there are parallels between Harry and Meghan's life and Harry and Meghan's great romance and the book. There's a couple in their 30s. One of them has had a tragedy in that a parent has died in a car crash. And they meet, and there are themes of alcohol and drug abuse. Billy, honey, go get me a Coke. I think I need to flush my nose out with a sneeze. And I will do it if I drink Coca-Cola. Do you see the utter self-centeredness of it all? And I'll tell you something better. Most writers, their first book, if it's non-fiction, is autobiographical. I hasten to add, mine wasn't. My first book was on philosophy, but there we go. But even say Truman Capote's first book was autobiographically inspired, let's put it that way. But by the time you've written a second book, no. Everything Harry and Meghan does relates to themselves. They really think they are so fascinating that it all has to harken back to them. But what makes them fascinating isn't that they are fascinating, but that their dysfunction is so flagrant that their display of dysfunctionalism is what is fascinating. That's not the same thing as being fascinating. They've not figured that one out yet. They don't have anybody speaking the truth to them, because every time somebody dares to do so, they are shoved out. Let us wait and see what happens with this, because their promoters are trying to have a Lazarus situation. Well, Lazarus rose from the dead once, but Lazarus rose. I don't think those corpses are going to be rising very far. And I don't think they're going to be walking anywhere, except possibly possibly to Hades. But we'll wait and see. And I wish them well. And also, let's remember, there is a SAG strike on at the moment. I mean, this is a huge announcement of, like, the Titanic is going to sail. Except there's no water in the sea. How does that work? Do you begin to see how totally preposterous the whole thing is? Although, because there is a strike on, it gives them time to get their ducks in a row. Well, it gives Harry&Meg time to try to create something that maybe will become realizable. I've checked with my connections in Hollywood. This is promising to be a turkey, and it's a turkey that goes all nonsense. As I said, I was told if she has got £30,000 for the rights to that book, she's got a lot. If she was incredibly lucky, I now say this not off what I was told, but off my personal knowledge of how these things work, because I've had books that were optioned. For instance, Empress Bianca, one of the people who optioned it was Victoria Brinner, Yul Brynner's daughter. It was optioned more than once to be made into a film. And as Antonia Fraser said, when her book, Marie Antoinette, was made into a film, she said, oh, finally, one of the books that I've optioned has been made into a film. It happens all the time. And if it's made into a film, maybe it will go up from 30,000. But at the moment, maximum, when everything is done and dusted, 300,000. They would, to make the 3 million, they would have to make a super duper bestseller that ended up going everywhere and made everybody a shed load of money. It's not going to happen. I mean, I am now so sick and tired of the nonsense that pours forth with respect to those two and their PR people's claims. It's just offensive. The vocal crone says, I love it. Lady C, do you know if there is truth to BetterUp having to lay off people and that they have run short of funding? I do know. Sorry, I shouldn't be exultant. It sounds like, sorry, it's on a downward spiral if the allegations are correct. Also, I saw somewhere that Meghan Markle had requested that Invictus pay some exorbitant amount for her clothes worn the last time she attended. Is there truth to that rumour as well? By the way, looking glamorous as always, to my envy. Well, oh dear, oh dear. Thank you for your compliment about the way I look. I do try to look as appealing and as interesting. And remember, this is a show, so it's not necessarily the way I run around every day, although what you're seeing is what I wore to lunch today. So this is definitely the way I look when I'm going to lunch, because that's rare life. But because this is a show, I sometimes am more glamorous than I would be. I'm more glamorous than I would be in everyday life. Well, this is everyday life, except I forgot my brooch. Sorry. Anyway, putting that aside, there are rumours that Meghan billed Invictus for her wardrobe and for expenses. Unless I can furnish you with the actual written proof, it would be defamatory to say so. So, in the absence of that, I have got to say I make no claims and I give no assurances to the contrary. Read between the lines and you will see what my opinion is of this sort of claim. I don't want to say more than that for legal reasons. Now, insofar as the BetterUp thing is concerned, I mentioned some time ago that there was dissatisfaction at BetterUp about the way the company was demanding that the staff perform in a way that the staff found unacceptable. Because remember, they are supposed to be dealing with people in the workplace who are troubled as to what's going on in their jobs and with their employees, etc. And I made it very clear that I had been reliably informed that there were problems and that various workers had made various claims which sat very much in conflict with what BetterUp was, because BetterUp was advising people who are dissatisfied with their employees. So how can with their employers, sorry. So how can a company that is advising people who are disaffected in the marketplace have their advisors advising people when the very advisors are upset with the performance of the company in relation to them? I mean, that's a great conflict, to put it mildly. That was then. This is now, and this is a different issue. Harry was paid over $1 million, according to what one of the sources at BetterUp has said. Harry was paid over $1 million for a few PR stunts. He has, according to them, absolutely no responsibilities within the company. He doesn't function within the company in any way, shape or form that they could see. The claims of the people who have been dismissed because they have been made redundant because the company is suffering, and they feel that if Harry hadn't been paid over the $1 million that he was paid, that they wouldn't have lost their $40,000 and $50,000 jobs. Do the math. Several of them have been let go, and they feel that not only is the company advising on what you could say are failings in the marketplace that the company itself suffers from, but that they are full of nonsense, because they say that it is utter rubbish that BetterUp keeps on saying we're mission driven and the mission is going to change the world, when in fact BetterUp is a company which I said some time ago it's getting itself in a position to launch itself as I think it's called an IPO. And what it has done is it's hired Harry and used Harry's contacts, which remember, and Harry's position when he was hired by them was a lot stronger. He was a lot more respectable and eminent than he is now. And he was hired as the face of BetterUp to lend patina, to gilt, to gloss up the image of the company, so that ultimately they can go public, make a whole load of money, and doubtless dump their shares. Harry, of course, made extravagant claims about, because he's appeared at one or two conferences and one or two television things, and that's evidently the full extent of his contribution. Because, of course, he claimed that BetterUp gave him a purpose that gets him out of bed every day. So really what he was admitting, I think I said it at the time as well, was that he's a depressive who has no reason to get out of bed. He comes up with things like this, and he has to, I have a real purpose in life. I've got to get out of bed and save the world. How does that one work? And I'm just going to look and see if I have missed anything else. No, I haven't. And I'll wrap this up by saying one of the problems with both Harry and Meghan is they are, as I have said before, dramatists at a fever pitch at all times. And when you are that extreme, whether it is in terms of emotion or ideas, if you're not measured, because every idea has both pro and contra, and there is left side, a right side, and a middle. And if you are not rational, and if you are not sufficiently moderate, but you are extreme and exaggerated, you are giving people in the know the message that you don't know. And their extremism is also affecting not only their right and entitlement to actually make comments, but their value as commentators. So I make that point for what it's worth. Connie Hanley says, don't you think Meg sticks to has because until she gets some rich dude, without has she is nothing? Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And even with him, she's not very much. When she first entered the royal family, she was quite a big deal. She was full of promise, and she has not realized her promise. And she has made it apparent that she is an entity of no note, that is really a non-entity. And as I have said, he's a has-been and she's a never was. Come on, Bildy, you can come back. You want to come back? Bildy's here. But he doesn't want to come onto the sofa. So, can't help it. I just love doggy woggies. Anyway, yeah, without him, she is zilch. And until she can find someone else, because really, I think South Park got it right Remember at the end when Harry opens Meghan up and there's nothing there? I think she's an empty vessel that makes a lot of noise and people are aware of it. And I really don't think that she has sufficient substance to actually deliver anything, at least not when she's being a vertical. So I think any delivery she does that is going to guarantee satisfaction has to lie in other directions. I wonder, is she going to stay with Harry? Is she ever going to get a chance to do a Jackie and leap onto a billionaire's yacht? Let's wait and see. We can wish her well. I do. Milo Puttycat says, the moment she lost all respect for me was when she said at the Invictus Games that this is service, quote unquote, meaning that what the royal family do is a waste of time. Also, I just don't think William could ever forgive Harry because he took me again to his mother's grave and she knelt on it whilst trying to invoke Diana's spirits. Both these are unforgivable. Well, you'd have to be really pretty dumb, and Prince William is not pretty dumb. And you'd have to be really unrealistic, and Prince William is not unrealistic. And you'd have to be really mentally ill, and Prince William is not mentally ill, to believe that some flake of Santeria was going to, I'm on the grave, your mom is channeling, I'm channeling your mom, yes, I'm channeling her, she says from the grave, H, oh, sorry, I call you H, she said, Harry, honey, Mammy, sorry, my nose slipped again. Mommy's really pleased with your performance, and Mommy thinks that the best thing you did was get your wonderful wife. As for the bitchy comment, this is service. You know, Eamon Holmes was roundly criticised for calling Meghan uppity, as if the word has racial connotations when it doesn't, because the word simply means what it means, above yourself. And Meghan is above herself. And Meghan, if you recall, when she was departing from the royal family, she also made the arrogant, impertinent, condescending and patronizing comment that the Queen didn't own the word royal. This is service was just another one of those snide asides that Meghan is known for. I had a mother like Meghan. On the one hand, sometimes she was snide and bitchy and catty, and on the other hand, at other times, she was clever enough to let you say what she planted in your mouth, the way Meghan in the Oprah interview said just enough to be able to convincingly pretend as if Oprah had drawn out the racist allegations that she made against the royal family. I have no respect for Meghan Markle. I think she is a supremely distasteful individual. However, I think she is not as readily dismissed as her detractors would like her to be. I think situations like this ultimately collapse under the own weight of the hostility that they generate as a result of the hostility that is within them. Ultimately, destructiveness results in nothingness. Only constructiveness grows. That's my take on it. So, Park Wood says, maybe the issues in Harry's marriage will give him insight into his parents' problems, and he will realize faults were on both sides. His mother was not a victim. Well, I have always thought that his father was a greater victim of his mother than she was of him. That's always been my take on it. And I'm not saying that there wasn't fault on both sides, but I do know that Charles went into that marriage honestly expecting, not only hoping, but expecting that the affection that he thought they had between them and what he believed they had in common would lead to a wonderfully mutually supportive relationship. And it didn't. Now, I'm not going to say that I would have wanted to marry Prince Charles, because I certainly wouldn't have. I mean, Camilla is a far more self-abnegating person than I am. I'm a lot more like Diana and a far more demanding woman than Camilla ever has been or ever will be. So let me make it clear that if I had married Charles, the marriage would have been a disaster as well, because I don't have the self-abnegating quality that Camilla has, and Diana had it far less than I do, because I'm actually quite accommodating, even if I'm not particularly self-abnegating. Diana was not accommodating, and she was not self-abnegating. Well, Harry, when he reflects upon his marriage and learn from his experience with Meghan and apply those lessons and give his father a break? No, Harry has no insight. Haven't you figured that out yet? Meghan has no insight either, but Harry has no insight. You either have insight or you don't. A therapist can take you to water, but he can't force you to drink. It is quite apparent, if you have read Spare, that Harry, whether he was taken to the water or not, has refused to drink. Nothing is ever his fault. Until you can embrace your fallibility, you cannot be a whole person. And people who lack insight can never be healthy or whole, because you cannot be healthy if you lack insight. It's as simple as that. Every human being is flawed. Unless you accept your failings, you will never, ever be able to grow spiritually. It's as simple as that. Sabine Martin says, as far as I have heard, Suits was a mediocre cable show. She was written out as she wasn't that good. Why is Netflix trying to promote it? To save face? No. First of all, Suits was a mediocre show, but it was good. I looked at the first, 2 or 3 years of it. Stuck in the middle of France, several days a week with absolutely nothing to do, except look at television, Law and Order, CSI Special Victims, Suits, endless stuff, and read. I could only read so much. So I used to look at television. And Suits was good. It is a mediocre cable show, but it's good. Let's give credit where it's due. Meghan, she was the least good of the cast. And she wasn't the star. That lovely girl, Torres, was the star. Meghan was not the star. The Meghans and the Abigail Spencers of this world are very fourth-rate and For a while, people might have thought they were third rate. Nobody ever thought they were second or first rate. And Meghan was not written out either. She was worried that she was going to be written out. She made it absolutely clear to Gina Nelthorpe-Cowan, when Gina Nelthorpe-Cowan became her manager, that she was looking to her future because she knew her part in that show, and most likely that show as well, were coming to an end. But she wasn't written out. Then she leapt before she was pushed right into Harry's bed. Oh, lucky Maxie baby. And Harry was lucky too. Remember what they called him at the palace? BJ's Harry. And not beautiful Jamas either. Means something else. And why is Netflix trying to promote it? To save face? Netflix is trying to promote it to establish the fact that Meghan has achieved something, and they are hoping to make sufficient money off it. And also, Netflix needs content. All these streaming companies need content. They need more content than they can afford at this point. So they're all now, and Netflix especially, is now scratching around with third and fourth rate things that it hopes that its subscribers will find interesting. And do you think it got Suits at any great price? My understanding is it got it at a rock bottom price. And good luck to Suits, and good luck to Netflix, and good luck to everybody who's going to make money out of Suits. But to save face? No, it's not about saving face. It's about trying to achieve the objective of content that will hopefully be desirable, and B, if there is a overflow that will enhance Meghan's reputation, and then that is to the good where Netflix is concerned. Okay, so Alexander the Great says, Lady Cece, it's me again. Hello, Alexander the Great. Thank you for your thing the other day. I wanted to thank you for correcting my wrong attitude to the left-wing being emotional, irrational thinkers. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. I gave it more consideration after what you told me and realized you were right. Faulty labels are not helpful. Thank you, Alexander the Great. Thank you. I'm so glad that you are big enough to have taken on board not only what I said, but rather like me. You don't mind admitting you're wrong because you know nobody's perfect. I love that about you. Thank you. To not interrupt your question, I have a random question. No, faulty labels are not helpful. I will apply that advice when thinking through things in the future. I have a random question for you that may seem odd, but when I like someone and want to get to know them a bit, I ask random things. So my question is, wait for it. What kind of food do you enjoy eating for breakfast? Laugh out loud. It's a serious question, by the way. Alexander the Great. Kisses. I love you. Thank you. So we're going to end on a frivolous note from gratis Alexander the Great. Practically every morning I have the same breakfast. a glass of freshly squeezed orange juice, 2 oranges freshly squeezed, 1 boiled egg, 4 minutes, soft, and a tisane, usually peppermint or chamomile tea, as they call it, but it's not really tea, it's a tisane. That's my usual breakfast. When I have house guests, which I often do, it varies. I then have not a full English breakfast, but a reasonably full English breakfast. If I have just the ordinary quota of house guests, let's put it that way, it is scrambled eggs, usually Cumberland sausages, bacon, jam, some of which is homemade, orange juice, of course, not freshly squeezed. I buy that. I can't be bothered to freshly squeeze a whole load of orange juice, sorry. And tea, real tea. Usually, most of my guests opt for what we call builder's tea, PG tips. A few opt for Earl Grey. Very seldom do they opt for English breakfast. Funnily enough, the grander the person, the more inclined they are to opt for PG tips, workman's tea, and coffee. That's it. Oh, and our toast, obviously, to go with the jam. That's the full extent of it. So sometimes I'll serve, if it's a much bigger group now, for instance, if I'm having a sort of mini event at the castle, which is a personal thing, then I'll have all of that and smoked salmon, cold ham, other cold cuts, Swedish meatballs, and that sort of thing. So hope that's answered the question. And on that note, I'll say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in so I can know what you want us to speak about. And thank you so much. Godspeed. Also, if you have really enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and take good care. Bye-bye.